ones. Now, tonight we're joined by an actor who's been driving his wife up the wall for 11 years.
I'm going to help Craig put a marriage proposal... Robert Lindsey.
Hey! Hey, I'm not like that at all, you know.
Really? Okay.
There's nothing like me at all.
Well, 11 series. I mean, you must be like a family yourselves.
Yeah, it's become like that. Yeah, I mean, I've had 2 sons born during the making of my family, you know, and...
Yeah?
Yeah. Look, God, there they all are, bless their hearts. Yeah, we're still in touch. We're still in touch.
Good.
And,
Speaking of your real sons, of course, it's Father's Day Sunday.
Oh, yes.
What are your plans?
Did you know I didn't even know it was Father's Day on
Yeah,
Sunday?
yeah, it is.
Well, expect some presents,
But now
Robert.
you have.
Yeah.
Well, I won't know, will I?
No, well,
No, what I will be doing is woken up at 6 in the morning, which is so exciting of a Sunday, isn't it?
No.
of course. Well, are you with the new series now? Are you sporting a beard in the new series?
No, this series was grown so I could be anonymous. And now I've come on TV and now I won't be anymore.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to be talking to Robert about the new and the final series of My Family later on.
Yes. Now, if, like me, you've always dreamt of a town without effective parking restrictions and no traffic wardens in sight, well, dream no more.
Yeah, all you have to do is follow the yellow lines to Aberystwyth to discover a parking paradise where the only one handing out tickets is our very own Matt Albright.
Local Council Ceredigion says it hoped that community support officers would have handled parking duties, but this hadn't been possible.
As things stand, the local police remain responsible for the enforcement of road traffic regulations until new wardens can be hired. Now, I have to say at this point, I have never met, Robert, anybody with more parking fines than Alex. It's unbelievable.
No, I have the record.
Do you have the...
I actually wallpapered a loo with my No, I'm serious, I did. I mean, they look really cool, actually. Right. They look really cool.
Well, there's an idea for you.
Well, honestly, they seem a little mini come in and it's like a magnet. On it goes, whether it's parked illegally or not.
Yeah.
No.
What are your thoughts on Aberystwyth there? I mean,
well, it's kind of heaven, isn't it, knowing there aren't any traffic. Where I live, there's a car park, but and I always park in it because I'm legal.
Yeah.
And I always end up getting a ticket because I've never put the right amount of time on it.
Right.
But if I park on the double yellow lines out in the street, I never get anything. So the law's an ass, really, isn't it?
Anyone's guess. On we go.
Anyway, now then, when we send Phil Tufnell out to investigate the stories behind artistic treasures, he's a habit of turning up in some fairly random places.
So it came as no surprise when we discovered that his latest film was in a shopping centre at the weekend. Robert, you were just saying there during that film that you've got a bit of a thing for public art.
Yeah, I think it's important that you cheer up an area. I mean, where I come from in the Midlands, you know, there are a lot of, because the recession's hit quite badly, you know, and a lot of the shops are boarded up. And they've got this new thing now where they put old photographs of the town, you know, it was in 100 years ago or something, but it kind of gives it some essence of liveness about it, you know, and because I think art, public art, the problem is with this chap is that it's going to be worth a fortune, and then someone's going to nick it.
Right, well...
Bit by bit, right?
The chisel.
Tile.
Don't give them ideas, Robert. Now then, let's talk about My Family. So it's going into the 11th and final series. Starts this Friday, 9 p.m, BBC One. Must be really hard to see a long-running series like that coming to an end. And is it fair to say you were quite upset, actually, when you found out originally, weren't you?
No. We actually, I'll address that because we knew. I mean, it was a mutual decision between us and the BBC.
Right, okay.
Zoe and I, and indeed the cast, all realised that My Family had come to an end because the kids had grown up. You know, and Chris had left a few series ago, and we realised that the real humour of any domestic comedy are kids, as Outnumbered's proved, and, you know, many other shows. Kids are the real fun. I mean, my own son, last month, we went into a shop, and he asked me, in a crowded shop, asked me what mental pause was. You try and explain that to a 12-year-old son in a crowded shop. But those are the kind of humour that we had in My Family. Yeah. And we realised we were losing as the kids were flying the nest. Fortunately, my co-star, Zoe Wanamaker, is adorable, and we are very, very
close. And the chemistry that you have on screen is brilliant. Well, the bickering and all of that, but people love that, don't
they? Mate, if you should see the outtakes, I tell you. Yeah. We've never allowed the show to see the bloopers, unfortunately, which is a kind of mistake, because some of the outtakes are just adorable. Thursday night, when we used to record it, was just a party. Yeah, it really was a party. And Zoe and I are quite good with the old expletives. Beep. which the audience love. They love to see you going wrong. It's It's rather gladiatorial, really, isn't it? They just want to see you go wrong.
Yeah.
And so what sort of things did the audience see you going wrong with in this new series?
I can't even repeat that at this, because we are pre-Watershed, but it was sometimes became a post-Watershed show, let's put it that way.
Okay. But on screen, what can viewers look forward to?
Well, my favourite one, which is is in this next series, is when Ben decides to take up Botox. He's losing a lot of patience. And, of course, his first experiment is on his wife.
Right.
Of course. And Ben, of course, is a dentist, for people who haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, I presume some dentists saw you.
Yeah.
Called hypodermic. But hypodermics, are not funny. I don't know whether you've noticed that. Because if you produce a needle in a comedy show, they sort of stop laughing.
Right, yeah.
So whoever devised a show about a dentist and a dental surgery was insane. Because it's not
work for
funny.
you then as an actor, definitely.
Okay, but you play Ben Harper. He's quite grumpy, really, isn't he?
Yeah, I think my kids are pleased he's over, because I used to bring him home a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not a grumpy person by nature, although they would all disagree with that. But the bit of the character starts seeping into your personality. It's bound to. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
But Zoe and I and the BBC all agreed. I think no one ever knew that it was going to be the end of the show. But I think that deep down, enough's enough. Mm-hmm. And it's what I will say is, we all talk about the cast and Zoe and the kids, but as you all know, a show is about makeup, wardrobe, designers, editors, you name it. It's a whole team of people. So you say goodbye to a lot of people, and that's sad. The cast, we all keep in touch constantly, but there's a whole lot of friends that kind of move on, and that's always sad. Any show is sad when it finishes.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to the final series.
Yes, exactly. Now then, to Gloucestershire and the poor people of Stone. Stone's a village just off the M5 who woke up one morning to find Dr. Mark Porter, a mobile lab and a one-show film crew on their doorstep.
Yeah, Mark was in the village to set the 500 people who live there a simple challenge, but would they rise to the occasion? Porter joins us now at World Blood Donor Day with Hannah Gregory. Now, Hannah, it's incredible this, 32 pints after you hemorrhaged at 30 weeks into your pregnancy.
Yes.
That's almost as much as the Stone delivered.
As much as we collected a day, and 4 times the amount of blood that Hannah has in her body, I would imagine.
Yeah, so what actually happened at that critical point?
Okay, it was 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and I woke up suddenly and I realised that my waters had broken and I was bleeding very heavily.
Yeah.
Luckily my husband was there and he was amazing, and he called an ambulance and I was taken straight to Princess Royal and Haywards Heath, and the staff there were amazing. They had to knock me out straight away under a general, and they weren't sure if it was me or the baby who was bleeding. Got the baby out. He was fine, he was healthy, no problem. But then they discovered that I had a very rare problem with my placenta, which meant that I just carried on bleeding profusely and lost my entire blood volume time and time again. So as fast as they were putting it in, it was coming out. So 32 pints, and to the point where I had to be resuscitated twice. And they did turn around to my husband at one point and say, we don't think she's going to make it. But anyway, I did. I was taken to intensive care, critical for 36 hours, and then woken up by Sean, my husband, the next on Sunday afternoon, and shown a picture of our son, which was amazing. I didn't think he'd survive that kind of blood loss. So.
That's the thing. I mean, how was it for you when you did come round? Because obviously you'd been out for the whole time.
I just couldn't believe that my son had survived, and I couldn't believe they told me that I'd had that amount of blood transfused into me. So.
Now, there is a shortage, Mark, of blood donors, isn't there? How much do we need, then? How much do the NHS need on a daily basis?
Well, we need around 10,000 donors a day. I mean, it took us a whole afternoon in Stone to collect enough to give Hannah in one emergency and give some idea of the impetus. And only 1 in 25 of us actually donates regularly.
But can anyone donate?
Nearly everyone can donate. If you're over 17, 65 or under, and above a certain weight, so you're not too small, you can donate. There are other people who can't. If you've been to certain countries, there's been some controversy about gay men who are sexually active being banned. That looks like it's going to be lifted, or certainly the restrictions are going to be reduced somewhat. So most people can give blood. I mean, if in doubt, go and ask and find out. You'd be surprised. Most medicines don't stop you giving blood. No. A lot of people think they do.
And some communities have lower rates of donation, don't they, than others?
Yes, as I said, only 1 in 25 of us gives blood anyway, but from some communities it's particularly low. Black African, African Caribbean and Asian, they account for only 3% of donors between them. So we like to see more people coming from those communities and more young donors. We need more young donors because they're the people who give throughout their lives.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark.
And Robert hasn't given blood, but he is on his way after seeing that film. He said you felt terribly guilty.
Make me feel guilty, won't you?
Yeah.
I'm good.
I don't like needles, I don't like blood, but I love tea and biscuits.
And they always give you a biscuit at the end.
No,
It's a cold drink now, I think.
Oh, is it? Thanks, Hannah, so much as well. Great. Now, preparing for your driving test isn't just about perfecting your three-point turn. It also means checking your eyesight.
Yeah, Sangeeta Maiskar has been casting her eye over proposed changes to the driving test.
If approved, they would actually make it easier for people with poor eyesight to pass. But at what price?
But
Yeah,
glasses on.
be careful.
I'm fine.
Yeah, now, as Robert found out earlier on, surprise, it's Father's Day on Sunday, so if you want to shout out about what your dad has done for you or not done, then do get in touch. It could be featured on Ribbons Britain on Friday's show. Email theoneshow@bbc.co.uk.
Yes, now that's all for tonight. Thank you so much, Robert. My family will be back on the BBC at 9 p.m. on Friday.
Tomorrow night, the man who puts the DL in DL and Pascal, Warren Clark, is here. We'll see you at 7. Bye-bye.